I mean, that's surely the UN Security Council move should help, because this is not now seen as an American plan. This is now a United Nations plan. And if you're going to have Arab nations from the region committing to a stabilisation force, they're not going to put their people in harm's way if Hamas are still armed in Gaza. Surely they need to have Hamas disarm themselves before they put any of their forces in there.
Yeah, and that's why it was important for me to mention that before we completely celebrate that, you know, these forces are continually saying that they will not go into the Gaza Strip before Hamas is dismantled. So how are we going to dismantle Hamas? And there are still two paths: diplomacy and military. I really hope that through diplomatic pressure, they will be able to leverage that into press Hamas to disarm. But this is a huge challenge that is sitting ahead. And this is something that all government around the world, Western democracies, Arab countries who have participated, you know, in different means during the last 2 years, to put an immense amount of pressure on Hamas. And it is now, because the longer it takes, the more control they are taking in neighborhoods, and the harder it will become to dismantle them.
Now, in the relative calm of the past few weeks, and of course, as you point out, there have been attacks from Hamas, and there have been efforts by Israel to take out Hamas operatives who are still operating, but it's been relatively calm compared to the previous 2 years. What more has Israel learned about the state of affairs in Gaza, the humanitarian situation, the so-called genocide? I mean, all this has gone quiet. Surely there must be evidence now on the ground of exactly what the death toll was and what the humanitarian situation is, and we're not hearing about it from the global media.
Well, you're not hearing it because a lot of those, you know, fabrications were completely dismantled and exploded. You know, I think it was 2 weeks already after the ceasefire was announced that the United Nations organization of UNICEF have said that there is enough food for months in Gaza.
Yeah.
How did it suddenly became like that? No, it was there. These are fabrications. They're more and more propaganda that Hamas is trying to push. Even now, it continues to do that. But right now, journalists are going into Gaza. They're exploring and they're reporting as well from the field, and they see those fabrications and the propaganda that Hamas has sent that the world didn't challenge. You know, channels like the BBC and CNN and other channels who unfortunately didn't look after their journalistic integrity and were just reporting from the mouthpiece of Hamas without asking the hard questions.
Deputy Foreign Minister, has there been any offer from Australia to assist in the peace plan?
Well, not as far as I'm aware of. I think that also the last move of Prime Minister Albanese with declaring a Palestinian state, I think that there was more understanding how damaging it was to the process instead of constructing and pushing towards stability and towards a ceasefire. I think that, you know, the relationships and the channels are rebuilding now, but still it is far from being neutral and taking part in that cooperation right now.
Sharon Haskell, thanks so much for joining us again. Really appreciate it. Sharon Haskell there from live from Israel, the Deputy Foreign Minister of Israel.